Dear Democrats, or liberals, progressives, leftists, however you choose to identify in the various factions of this movement, I know that arrogance is a harsh word, but I'm not using it lightly in describing your movement and the attitudes that are so prevalent within it. MAGA knows you're arrogant. They can feel it. That's why they don't like you. Whether they can articulate it or not, they know there's something wrong about this fervent, highbrow belief that you know the right way, the right policy, the right beliefs, the right ways of viewing the world, and it's your job to somehow convince and convert and get everyone else into your so-called big tent. Yet part of the arrogance is that you don't want MAGA in your big tent. So how does that even work? How does half the population who doesn't agree, who doesn't see the world the same way that you see the world, how does that work? That this is a big tent, that you're right about everything, that you include and welcome all the different factions and cultures and diversity within our country. How is it that MAGA doesn't fit within that diversity? There's an arrogance in so many of the policies you put forth and the beliefs that you put forth with such certainty. There's an arrogance in the racial policy, as though racial politics and racial truth is all about literally black and white. There's a right and a wrong. There's a good and a bad. The people who have been oppressed are right and justified and need to be supported and need to be understood no matter what their behavior. Meanwhile, white people are wrong and should be ashamed and guilty and small. You've turned racial politics into this divisive, polarizing, one-size-fits-all version of truth that denies people's own individual truth and experience. Racism isn't just one thing that happens one way and that's always the same. It is a deeply complex, deeply personal phenomenon in our country. People experience different cultural realities in their workplaces, in their schools, and they try to figure out what's happening. What is this tension? What is happening between black people and white people, and between black people and any other culture? What is this about? How is this? Why is this group why are these people mad at me? Why is somebody beating somebody else? Why is this happening? And yet people are trying to figure this out within a context which is primarily a democratic, liberal, progressive phenomenon, that there's a good side to this and a bad side to this, and we're on the good side and you're on the bad side. It doesn't work that way. You're asking people to deny their own experience of life and adhere to rigid policies that you have come up with that do not always apply to people's lives and to people's personal experience. This is not a one-size-fits-all situation or issue or problem in our culture to be resolved. And this good and bad mentality scares the crap out of everyone and polarizes everyone and makes it difficult to have real conversations about what is actually going on. You're arrogant about your approach to most social issues. You're arrogant in thinking that your approach to drug addiction and homelessness is the only virtuous and right way, that giving people free needles and free places to shoot up the incredibly toxic chemical drugs that are being sold in our country now, that this is the way, this is the compassionate way, this is the only right way, that calling homeless people unhoused as though this was nothing but an injustice that was being done on a group of people, an ever-growing group of people, and that there's nothing that they can do about it. They are helpless victims to this. MAGA, and I, for that matter, know that isn't true. These issues are not as simple as you make them out to be. They are not as cut and dried as you make them out to be. You are not as right about everything as you want to be. Is MAGA arrogant? Is there arrogance in MAGA? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's incredible arrogance from Donald Trump all the way down through the movement. All of his lackeys, all of his followers. It's the flip side of this. It's the mirror image of the same side. We're right and you're wrong. We're right and you're wrong. But people can feel the arrogance from the left. Whether they can articulate it or not, they can feel it. They know it's there. They know there's something wrong. They know that there's something being pushed down their throats that isn't as true as you try to make it sound. I'm not as concerned about MAGA because I know MAGA is collapsing. MAGA's the glaring untruths and distortions of what Donald Trump has put forth is being revealed, and it will be revealed, and it will collapse because it doesn't make sense. There's too many conflicts in it. Even though I keep speaking up that there's something true about what MAGA followers and the MAGA base is saying about what's wrong with our country, the fundamental principles of MAGA will not hold up. I am frankly more concerned about the arrogance of the left because it is more self-justified, this virtue signaling of we are right about everything. We have always been right about everything. We're always on the side of justice. We're always on the side of civil rights, equal rights, what's best for everyone. That arrogance is so entrenched that if you defeat MAGA, it's going to run away with itself once again. And there will be yet another swing. That arrogance will be revealed too, as MAGA's arrogance is now being revealed. I am more concerned about the arrogance of thinking that we can solve all our problems by a rigid, dogmatic set of beliefs that forces people to use the right pronouns, that forces people to constantly change their language in the belief that changing language will change centuries of oppression, and that we've got this right and we need to just force this down other people's throats. It is arrogant and it will not work. I just made a video talking about MAGA, about the collapse of MAGA, and encouraging them to look, to self-reflect, to look at what they have bought into as it is collapsing, because the sooner these lies and deceptions and the arrogance of MAGA is revealed, the sooner these people can begin to be free of the clutches of it. I have the same advice for the left, for progressive, for Democrats. MAGA is telling you something about yourselves. MAGA is reflecting an arrogance to you that you don't yet see. Of course, some of you see it. And of course, this is a broad, sweeping statement about the left. And there are many factions and many different people and different beliefs in the left. But there is a fundamental underlying arrogance that needs to be seen if you want to truly be the inclusive, all-embracing, big tent party that holds everyone, that truly respects everyone. Why is it that you can get to the root and see to the root of what causes racial prejudice, of what causes, look for the root causes of racism? Why is it that you can look to the root and understand the depths of things that people have experienced as oppressed groups and justify the behavior of those oppressed groups, but you will not grant that same generosity to MAGA? Why is that? How can that work? I don't have a great deal of confidence in the left doing this self-reflection, to see this arrogance, to hear what I'm saying, more importantly, to hear what life is saying, to hear what MAGA is reflecting to you. You want to make things right. There is a deep compassion. Even in spite of everything I'm saying, there is a deep compassion at the root and the heart of liberalism, a compassion for fellow humans, a compassion and understanding that we are all one and that divisiveness kills us and destroys us and undermines the lives of all of us. But that compassion and that true understanding of our interconnectedness and our oneness has been co-opted by an arrogance that needs to be seen. And if it is not seen, you will undermine your own power, your own opportunity when it comes your way. You do not have all the answers. You have your blind spots as well. You call people MAGA morons and lowlifes and bubbas and thises and that's and every way to dismiss. And you're missing an important reflection here that you need to see if you want to be worthy of the power that may well be coming your way. Please look. Please listen. Please self-reflect. Please hear what is being said. Thank you for listening.